Hello, suitors, and thank you for joining us here for the Suits After Show here at AfterBuzz TV, Season 6, Episode 4, Turn. Mike got out of prison for 6 whole hours, and Lewis is in love, but he's never going to tell anyone. All that and more. Stick with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I'm doing it. Oh, no. Hey. I was going to be a lot slower than that. Before I noticed the rest of the group.
Yeah, right. Gotta get the snaps.
Okay.
Hey, snap suits. Hey.
We don't have to do anything, right? We're just here. We're just going to do this.
What do you call this? I love it. I love it.
Thank you all for joining us for the law firm of Kaufmann, Ike, Hobson, and Brajer. Wow! Gang is all here for the Suits After Show.
Everyone. Oh, yes.
Thank you all for joining us. We're going to be live in the chat. Like us on iTunes, subscribe, rate, share, talk to us. I'm your host, Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann, but I'm not alone. I'm joined by the lovely.
What's up, guys? It's your host, Stacy Ike. You can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace.
And I'm Tiona Hobson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson.
And I'm Nicole Brajer. Good to be back with the original crew of Suits.
Yeah.
Yay.
So good. Let's just get to it, guys.
All right.
And you can follow me at Nicole Brajer. Sorry. Whatever.
The thing.
That thing.
So we're going to jump in where we pretty much left off last week. Mike was offered the Cahill deal to rat out on his roommate in prison, specifically his roommate's father-in-law.
Yeah.
Or to get his roommate's father-in-law, and Mike doesn't want to do it, something I pretty much figured he wouldn't do.
Right.
And yeah, we're gonna pull on this thread first. First off, what do we think about Mike just straight up saying no and protecting that roommate?
I don't think anyone was surprised that Mike would say no at first.
Right.
Yeah, Mike's always been that way. He has a very clear conscience when it comes to himself, so he's not going to mess with it.
Yeah, I think Harvey summed it up when he said he had lunch with the dude and now he thinks he owes him his life. I was like, wow, that's so something that defines Mike.
In a way, Mike does owe him his life
does.
because he went
he
and
does.
got the guard and saved him from getting shanked by Gallo last
crazy.
week. So I mean, I think that in bonding with your roommate, I've never been in prison or jail. I plan never to go, but if I did, I feel that the roommate bonding there, you gotta have each other's backs, and you gotta, if there's one person who you can quote unquote trust, it should be the person who's sleeping next to you. So for Mike to then turn into a guy who you can't trust anymore, it's kind of what Kevin did to Mike his first night all over again.
But is the extent, hey, you might get out early. No, I owe my roommate my life, so no.
That's why I'm just torn.
crazy.
It's like it hasn't been that long. There hasn't been enough time. Why be so protective over him?
I'm also on Mike's side on this one, mainly because it's a Cahill deal.
Yeah.
Where it's I don't know what that, how far can we really trust Cahill in any of this?
I understand.
And we still
I can agree
haven't
with
heard
that.
what the father-in-law did, what type of information Mike needs to get from Kevin in order for it to be enough to get the father-in-law prosecuted. It sounds like they're not even after Kevin, which means that if Kevin just wouldn't flip on the father-in-law. So if Mike then flips, will Kevin's family's life be in danger because they're going to think that he did it?
Well, that's what I honestly feel. I was going to save this for predictions, but I think it's good now. I honestly think the whole you have to flip on your brother, your father-in-law is MacGuffin. I feel like he doesn't actually care about his father-in-law.
You think Kevin doesn't care about it?
I think Kevin actually doesn't care about his father-in-law.
A lot of people don't really care about their in-laws.
But it's a thing, that seems like a common thing that it's more, I don't know, I feel like it would be one of those
but
things
we don't know enough.
Yeah, but Mike didn't tell him and trust him to do it. And I think that's going to be part of the fun. That after all that's going to go down next week, I think Kevin, when the dust settles, he's going to be like, my father-in-law, I hate my father-in-law. I would love to rat out my father-in-law. I really don't care. You could have been out of here 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Of course. And that's the way I feel like it always works with Mike anyway. Remember how if we go back to last season, he almost didn't have to go to jail, but here he is in jail.
Right.
So I could see that happening.
Wow.
I could see that happening.
So Harvey feels real guilty that Mike is there. And that's where Harvey's working from. This entire time, that's where we're going to see him work from this entire summer half of the season to try to get Mike out of prison. How do we feel about the Rachel of it all?
I'm
Interesting.
well. Are you asking in terms of
That they initially weren't going to tell, like this was going to be a secret that they were going to keep from Rachel.
I don't think there should be any
Forever.
secrets being kept from Rachel
No,
anymore.
I kind of do.
that's
You do?
aggressive.
Yeah, I don't.
I feel like it always causes an issue at the end.
I agree, and I'm glad that the end turned out the way it turned out in the sense that he did tell her. But I do think that we know Rachel enough to know we cannot always give her all the information, right? I don't know. I feel bad because like she is the fiance and like she should definitely
I think
know
we
what's
should
going
preface
on.
this
But
with Rachel when it comes to Mike is gonna
Okay, yeah.
gonna think emotions first.
exactly, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. She's obviously bombed her job. She's a great lawyer. You better work, like obviously. But when it comes to Mike, we have to be careful because oh my gosh, this girl will go from like 0 to 100.
I mean, she's the person who would have rather Mike turned on Harvey.
Of course.
You know, so of course when she hears about this deal, she's going to go, are
Good
you
point.
stupid? Why
She's like,
wouldn't
this
you?
is irrelevant. Who is this guy?
Yeah,
Oh my
instead
gosh.
of thinking about the long term, which I think Mike is thinking, we don't know the effects. Everyone's saying, oh, they'll never find out, they'll never find out. Everyone always freaking finds
Exactly.
out. So he's trying to think, okay, but what if they do? Who is
Right.
this guy who I'm going after? Am I making a new enemy? Am I putting Rachel and Mai's future in more danger
Right.
by getting
Right.
out early than just sitting here quietly, serving my 2 years and getting out?
Yeah,
Although,
he's trying to do one thing
To be fair,
without.
Gallo's a bad dude. Gallo's a bad dude. Like
But we
he's
can eventually get him out.
We've
of
already
there,
figured
right?
it. Yeah, we know that Gallo sucks. Like and I think just like Tiana's saying, Mike is just trying to do one thing without
Yeah.
all the shady. He's just trying to like, let me just serve my time.
And you don't
Right.
need Gallo as an enemy, and then whoever Kevin's father-in-law is as an
Yeah.
enemy. What if that turns out to be someone who also worked with Gallo in some capacity?
Or just a mob boss.
Yeah.
It's like he runs all of New York City.
Yeah, it's like you don't need two giant enemies
and
right
then you're
now.
gonna have 3 because Kevin. You never know how Kevin plays into that. We don't know he doesn't like his father. Like we don't know. It's just so much extra just to get this man out.
While we're talking about Mike and Gallo, he had this plan to get him parole and didn't really go into much detail. He filed a motion from jail. from prison.
We're just all in shock
No,
of how much
guys.
can go down in this prison.
They got libraries.
Guys, no, they really can because a lot of prisoners spend their time in the library researching because, you know, a lot of people who don't think that they
Right.
got a fair trial, they file their own motions from prison all the time. I just was more surprised that a court was letting him do it since he was pretending to be a lawyer
right.
for years.
And they were like, yeah, you can still do that.
And now he's filing motions on behalf of other enemies.
Teodros Mashwa, I hope I pronounced that right, Teodros Mashwa, on the chat says, what if the prosecutor from last season is trying to get Kevin to do what Kale was trying to get Mike to do?
That seems like a lot of work for her.
It does. It seems so extra. Like, why is Mike and Harvey's life so extra? Like,
Well, that's the show.
I know.
We need it to be extra.
We do, and I love it. I guess I just really want that happy family. I'm like that every season. I'm like, can we just
get the crew back together?
Well,
You know,
that's-
I love the. I know it's impossible. You're right. You're right.
That happens in between the seasons
Yeah,
when
yeah,
we're
yeah.
not watching because that's not the interesting part.
Exactly.
The interesting part is when he's in prison.
Exactly.
The same user, though, also said, sounds like Kevin is in prison for the same thing Mike is.
Like
Being a fake lawyer.
No,
I
because he
wouldn't-
refused to flip on
Flip on
someone
somebody
that
else.
could have saved his butt
Right,
from
right,
going
right.
to jail.
Which is
And
why
I
they
think
need to
that's,
stay together.
but I think that's what they mean. I think that's what they actually mean by Kevin's father-in-law. That's who he's protecting, and that's why he's in prison. He's in prison to protect that father-in-law. So for Mike to actually flip Kevin would be a big deal and a big abuse of his trust.
I agree.
As much as I'd love it to be MacGuffin.
Right.
Because if the tables were turned and someone was then trying to get Mike to flip on Harvey because he wouldn't in the first place, how would Mike feel about that? It's the trust issues
It
and
is.
all that stuff that I think is why Mike originally was thinking, I cannot take this deal.
Yeah.
And I was totally with him. I was like, just you did break the law. Serve your time.
So, I mean, not to flip to the end, but now that you say that and we hear the last sentence, I'm going to take the deal, how do you feel now? Are you kind
I
of like...
mean, I knew it was going to come to that.
I
I didn't
kinda-
want it to, but you know.
Can I call out USA on one thing?
Yes.
I did not know it was going to come to that.
I didn't
Until in the
either.
lower left when I got a timer telling me Mr. Robot was in exactly 120 seconds. And I immediately was like, nope, they're going to have a scuffle on the steps.
Yeah.
With just enough time for
I knew Mike was
to...
going to walk out and stop that. I was like, there's no way there could be you know, because now what's going to happen?
But I didn't know how
Exactly.
long the scene was going to be until they told me. And then I was
Yeah.
like, well, no, with that amount of time.
We have to
That's
do
exactly
it.
what's
Now,
going to happen.
here's something. Did he really tell Rachel? He
I hope
said he
so.
did.
I hope so.
No, I think he did.
think he did?
I think Harvey. I mean,
Okay.
how we have to because you know the next day in the office he's gonna be like, so that deal. He's gonna be like, what? I mean, we don't have a lot of time to lie right
Right.
now in terms of like lying to too many different people at one time. But I do think it was interesting because you guys are saying you thought that was how it was gonna come out, and I truthfully I wasn't sure. I was thinking maybe he'd come out and be like, guys, like love is love, but trust is another thing.
Just like how Rachel said, I never believed the story that you gave me when you first walked through the
Yeah.
door
Yes,
because she was
'cause
like, I
every
just want
time
some
it's
D
not-
right now. He got him
She
some
was
P
like-
and was like, yo,
She was just
I'm gonna miss hitting this for 2 years? 2 years without that? Nah, man, I gotta tell you.
I'm surprised they didn't whip out the wine and the scotch and everything else like they
Right.
normally do. I was like, they're definitely gonna have a drink right now.
No time.
Get to it. There's no time. We have 6 hours, but really 4.
Also, that's
we
another
gotta
thing.
drive. Like
That's another thing. It was clear he only had 6 hours out of prison.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did he tell her he had 6 hours out of prison when he knew he had a meeting after her?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, manage your day, Mike.
And,
Right.
and at least an
It was
hour
really
drive
2.5
back up to the prison.
He was playing, but she listen. By the time all the truth came out, I'm sure she's fine. But I would love to have seen her reaction because I want to know was she like? How long did this take you? I mean, I just want to hear what
I want to
Rachel had
see what'll happen next week when she bursts into Harvey's office
Exactly.
and says, when it comes to Mike, never keep me in the dark ever again.
say. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is my partner in life.
Ooh, Steve, tell us.
That's
Yes.
She's also gonna have a moment with Donna.
Right.
I just
Donna.
like I kind of feel
You knew
bad
too?
for Harvey. Like because there's just
Yeah.
so much pressure on him and he's really trying to do the right thing. I feel, you know, I'm not thinking that he's like I'm not like mad or disappointed with him at all, especially in this episode because I could really see that he's trying to like not screw anyone over in this, and Mike is his sole purpose. I mean, he's not even thinking about his firm and everyone else. The squad is handling it.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm just love Harvey so
But
much, and I'm just glad that he's putting out his heart a little more on his sleeve right now in
Yeah.
this time.
And I feel you on feeling bad for Harvey because I feel that he's trying to put out all these fires and everything keeps coming to him. That's why I was
Right.
very happy that when the traders thing happened, Jessica was like, nope, you got enough going on.
Jessica's like, I got this.
Like, I'll take care of
And
this. I was
I-
like, yes, Jessica, someone take some of the pressure off of Harvey.
Please, I know.
And Jessica doesn't normally have a bullpen anymore to like go and like pretty much rank and file.
Yeah.
Just line them all up and smack them across the face.
Jessica was incredible this episode.
Yeah.
My gosh,
She was
like
great.
she's always, but this girl, like this is why we love Jessica.
I know.
Like she just gave me that quick, by the way, in case you forgot. It's like, oh my gosh, she was hilarious. She was assertive. She was like just boss.
Let's
Love
get
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Jessica,
So funny.
Jessica and Stu.
Jessica and Stu.
Stu's
I
so
spell
bad.
it.
Tree.
I would sing it if I didn't think
I
Stu
love
was
a
like
love interest for Jessica always
not
because
Stu though. No.
why,
think-
girls?
no, I think
Because he's
Stu-
short and white.
No, white, fine. Short, no. I'm sorry. I can't with the short thing.
I mean, she did. There's that one shot where she.
Yeah, she was like, nah.
like,
she
She
could
was
she could
towering
date
over that
Jack
man.
Soloff. I'd be cool with that. Like if they weren't like crappy and enemies, but you know, they're working on it. But he's hot. Like
Who?
he's just not short.
Hey,
Guys,
you know what,
Soloff.
Stacey? When you're laying down, you're all the same height.
Guys,
Okay.
Can we institute a 3-episode rule on ships?
3 episodes.
Could that be AfterBuzz wide? I think that won't happen. But can we at least on this show have a 3-episode rule on ships that we cannot make a Jessa Stew yet?
Please,
We
I
gotta see where it's
agree.
going. We gotta give them time. They gotta.
I
flirt a
don't. Do we
little more.
trust him?
No.
Do we trust you?
Great question.
I think he, like most Wall
question.
Street people, are exactly who you think they like. For better or worse, a guy like Stu, like a lot of those Wall Street guys, you look him dead in the face and like you know exactly what they're about in like one sentence.
Interesting.
So like you
So
can
then-
trust to not trust a guy like that, where it's like, nope, he'd lie to me, but he'd lie directly to my face.
and he'd think
Yeah.
I believed him.
Yeah, or like. Yeah, or he'd call me an idiot for believing him.
Right,
Because
right.
he's just that, like, those Wall Street types, like, why'd you listen to me? It's my job to lie to you. You're an idiot.
I love his character.
Me
though.
too.
This is a really good, like, spicy. Never would have guessed it in a million years that this would happen. You know, them all filling this space, and I think he's a good mix.
Yeah.
I think he's a good
it's
mix,
fun.
and it's also important to note that Aaron Korsh was Aaron Korsh was from the New York financial world before coming into the show running side. So he likes to throw in a lot of the finance stuff because that's the actual world he came from.
Yeah. It's evident because it is so funny and like it's like detail without being too much. Like we don't know everything about Stu's life, but we know enough where I'm like I still laugh and I understand the scenes and I'm looking at the computer and it's all fun. You know, it's all fun and games. So I appreciate that part. But I agree with Nicole when it's like Stu's such a funny like combative character when it comes to like Lewis. I mean, I am just that's to me the best part. And then seeing Jessica handle him this episode too, I'm like, oh, this is really fun because we don't. I mean, Harvey and Stu have only had
at all. It's
such an extra comedy that's like, it's such a different
it's
character.
Keeping the audience engaged. It's fun. And then someone actually in the chat mentioned how they really like how Rachel's character is so far this season, and I agree with that as well because we're seeing a different side of her. You know,
She's
at least
handling
I
business.
do.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the new additions to this season.
And I'm enjoying. I think there's like a certain level of depth in somebody that fratty and up front of who he is.
Right.
Yeah.
That I kind of like the idea that Jessica's gonna bring that out this season.
Right.
But I like the younger people around her. And like, you know what I mean? Just based on her ex before and then her around younger people. It's nice. It's refreshing.
And a lighter person, if you will. Like just a lighter, brighter.
Somebody less serious.
Someone to have fun with at the end of the day.
Because we were all last season, and even the one before, we were all getting kind of annoyed with like the repetitiveness of things. And
how
this is like so different for Suits, and
Jessica typically dates like brooding, serious types.
Yeah. So serious.
It would be nice to date like a suspenders wearing brush.
Wait, she could not date him though, y'all. I'm not done. I was kidding.
3-day rule. Sorry, that was on me.
Yeah, but it would be nice to kind of see them on a date and have him really get Jessica out of her shell. But the fun Jessica that we know exists, you know, take her down to the boardwalk and ride a roller coaster or eat a corn dog, you know, not be dressed in her sophisticated, you know, always sharp looking thing, or have her in that element, but also
I just like
that
to
we have to go on a ride.
we have to go on a ride and you're wearing your stilettos and girl, you don't get in here, we're gonna do this.
Nah.
He's like, totally.
I
go to the fair in my stilettos all the time.
Right.
Me too.
Erica Shannon from AfterBuzz actually asked if Stu's a lawyer. That's what he said to Lewis last week, and he did say yes. He was a lawyer from Yale.
Yes. He's a lawyer.
Yeah. I think
Thank
it was
you,
kind
Erica.
of it was more comparative because he's a day trader. It's the same. It's the equivalent. One person goes with the money. Like one person chases the money directly. One person chases the money indirectly.
Right.
I think we can move on from Jessica at this moment.
To Lewis and Tara, maybe?
Oh, yes.
While we're on couples.
So,
Lord, what was that, y'all?
I also would like to cite the 3-day ship rule on Lutera.
Lutera.
I love Lutera. I do just really want him to ask her out. Can we just ask her out?
He
Can
was
we
so
not have
creepy
your
in the last scene.
He was like...
So here's the question.
You were like tripping. You were like, I'm grossed out. This is weird.
I was really freaked out because I'm like, you're smelling her, Lewis. Oh my God, just ask her out.
Like not even quietly sniffing, like loudly sniffing.
But here's the question. Is she into him or are we really into Lewis finding her?
I want more love interests. Keeps things spicy.
Yeah.
So if something happens there, that's cool, and if not, whatever.
But in the limited exchange that we've seen, and her straight up saying that I like to create an intimate relationship with all of my clients.
I think that was a perfect line, though. I don't necessarily know.
I don't even think she meant it that way, but
I think she meant it literally.
Right.
That I have an intimate connection with my clients. Meaning, once you're not my client, I move on to the next one and they get the exact same amount of attention from me. And this is just another moment where we could be dropping Lewis on his head.
Here's the thing. Being an architect and contractor, you're kind of like a stripper. Everyone needs your undivided attention and everyone needs to be made to feel very special. But at the end of the day, you're still paying for that attention.
Right.
So I don't know how much of it at this point I can say she's into him. It's clear that he's into her. And maybe, like he said, over time, he will get her
2 to 3 years.
Yeah, 2 to 3 years.
Well, Ashley Queen on the chat said, "Can we trust Tara? Do we, as a panel, trust her?"
Good question.
She hasn't given me a reason to not trust her.
They have
at
similar
this point.
interests.
Yes.
I think they're cute.
She's obviously attractive at a good match, and they have very similar interests. She's shown no interest in him personally.
Yeah. I just think it's a mix-up in terms of, like, does he have money and time to be wasting remodeling
Yes.
his
Well,
house.
Girl, we know he's got money because Justin
you're
and
right.
Harvey were like,
Money
"Whoa."
to waste though, just to like
If
we
it's
don't have a
just sitting
firm right
there-
now.
Well, I'm sure this won't actually happen. That's
don't
like a
think?
prediction. I don't think it'll get to that. I think maybe it'll get to a point where he finally is like, okay, you know what? I don't need you to remodel the whole house, but I do
I
want to
just
take
wanna
you to
ask you
dinner.
out. That's funny.
Like, hopefully.
I could really see a whole episode of like him being like, "Crap, there's people drilling." Like I could see it all. You know?
Can you?
I
don't know.
because Lewis takes it to the limits before
So,
we really bad.
By the way, obviously she can't do architecture in the firm because Jessica said no.
Yeah.
Because Lewis didn't pitch it correctly.
That was such a good idea, though. I was,
It was
very
pretty
sad
good.
that it
It was
got
a
shut
good.
down.
It was a good Donna idea. Donna, by the way, involved in every last one of these threads.
Yeah.
Goodness
But like,
gracious.
she didn't have her own thread this week because she was just too busy being involved in every other
And
thread.
making sure y'all were okay.
She's the glue.
Yeah.
She is the
Throughout.
glue.
She
She's the glue
is.
throughout.
Goodness
She's just-
gracious.
She saves everything.
Yeah.
The straw that stirs the drink, if you will.
I like
I
that.
usually just use my finger.
Or a stir spoon.
That's
But yeah, Donna for the win on this episode.
Definitely.
Donna's the MVP this episode.
Do you think she is putting a lot of the pressure on Harvey? Because I kind of saw that even though he is working out of guilt, like you say, Donna always brings that like reality check, and I'm like, man, give him
You
a
almost
second
cried to her.
Yeah, it's like I love what she's doing. Of course, we need her there, but some of those moments, I'm like, I wish Harvey had time to like grovel or get like we don't even we don't give him that time.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Because he keeps just kind of.
Do you think panic attacks will surface again?
I hope not.
Yeah.
'Cause
That was
then
only
he's-
because of Donna, anyway, being
True,
gone.
true,
so.
true. Oh yeah, she's back.
she's
so
good.
he's good.
But now he's lost Mike and
Well, then it's
not
rude
having panic attacks, so clearly he loves Donna
But
more.
Mike didn't. But Mike
Not that I'm
didn't.
trying to start anything with the whole Donna Harvey shippers again,
Right.
but you know.
right.
Anyway.
Lindsay Ivory Neptune says Lewis should be like Dwight from The Office and just buy the building they work in.
I could see
I
him
would.
doing that.
I could
I
see him
could s-
doing that.
That would. I don't
Isn't
know.
the
if
whole point to have people in the space though and make
I
it
don't know
seem
if-
like everything's all good?
I don't know
Oh,
if he's got that
true.
kind of money.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a whole building. Like that's a sky. Like that's a whole building in Wall Street. Like I don't think he's got. That's like, like corporations buy that kind of
Right.
money.
Right.
That's
He's-
not Hampton money.
He's got. Well,
Hampton's money is money.
Hampton money is money, but I don't know if
Yeah.
that's not corporation. He's got like people money. I don't think he's got corporation money.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? We don't have any of the money, so
We
anyway.
don't. We're all rich here.
I'm
I'm
gonna
like-
write down a number on this piece
Yeah, I'm
of
like,
paper.
Lewis, do we have this money?
Are you watching?
I feel like we're all right a number that's negative. I feel like
In
Very true.
comparison to that Lewis money, yes.
yes.
Oh man.
So I think it's time to move on to Rachel and the Justice Project and Leonard Bailey, who has been sitting on death row for 12 years and didn't do it.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
He
mean-
sa's he didn't do
Allegedly,
it.
yeah, we don't know much
Death
about
row's
him at
full of
all.
people who said
One
they
thing
didn't
about
do it.
the production in that I thought, which was really cool when we were introduced to Leonard, was how we all thought when Mike was going to have his visitor, and you even said, Steve,
Love
you were
that.
like, it's not his lawyer, and then it was like Rachel. We were all like, oh, Rachel,
And it
different
was
jail, yeah,
Totally
different
different
time. But I like
situation.
that. I like when. So good job for the production.
Really good scene.
Good
Really
fake
great
out
editing.
on that scene.
Yeah.
Rachel's had a bit of crisis of faith, like in between this thread of just kind of very like she just keeps picturing Mike and like feeling bad about Mike, and she needed Donna to talk her off that ledge and just really jump in and just be like, nope, I'm gonna help this guy.
Yeah.
And then she jumps in and finds out that the guy has been, at least as far as she can tell, wrongfully imprisoned.
I love that she went off on Professor Dunbar
Oh, that
because
was
he kind of
right.
he
In the
kind of was like,
faculty
little
lounge.
girl, calm down, and she was like, grown man, no, do not fire me because I will fire right back at you.
And the thing is, like, why did you invite me on this project if you didn't even trust my abilities?
Yes.
That's what I didn't understand when he
How
tried
did
to
he
shut her
not know
down.
she was a paralegal for a long time there too?
Stupid. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing here?
Well,
yeah,
to be fair,
that
he
was-
deals with just regular law students the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think to a certain extent, he might see what we see with Rachel, that it's like her emotion, like she acts emotions 1st when it comes to Mike, whereas when it comes to her job, he was like, oh, you're acting emotions first. You read some guy's sob story and you think he's innocent. And it's hands across
Yeah.
the world, and she's like, no.
But he doesn't even know about her, like Mike fully life.
But you could see that in her face, and she's clearly going through that this time. That would be part of his read.
Yeah.
He just didn't realize how badly she needed a distraction, and that in the day since she
could
got
do that
assigned
much,
that she
right.
would get as much as she got done.
True.
But now, I loved her conversation with Donna about how, she's scared because she spent a couple hours not thinking about Mike, and that scares her because, she's kind of scared to move on with her life. And I don't think that it's necessarily her moving on. It's her just continuing to live her life, which is what Mike wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And in 2 years, when you look up, you're like, oh, wow.
Mike would do the same thing, though. I think he would take up a case like that to distract him.
But I think in that oh wow moment, what is scary about that conversation is if she says oh wow and he comes back and he's like I'm back and she's like I haven't actually really missed you that much. That is what would be the dynamite, you know what I mean? Like I think that was what was so hard to watch that conversation because I was like, this is really real right now. I mean, so many people will go through that, I'm sure, in real life. And if we do imagine Rachel flying by 2 years without stressing over Mike, I mean.
But I don't think that this would take your mind completely off of it. Yes, for like the moment, it's just helping you get by. And I don't think that it would ever get to the point of her completely being like, oh, wow, you're back. Ew.
Yeah.
I was
not.
into you. That was so 2 years ago. Sorry.
But there's a certain need in everyone's life for escapism, whether it's you escape into your job or you escape or you
into watching Suits.
Or you watch Suits to escape from your job.
Yeah.
But what scares me about it is that she just had this conversation and she told Mike also that she's literally having conversations in her head about them working a case together, even though he's not there, which I thought was a little weird.
That was an interesting. That was a bit of
that's an interesting way to do things.
It was
Hey, we all cope in our different ways.
Right.
But now that a couple hours later, she then finds out that Mike could be getting out. This is just gonna. I hope it doesn't relapse her into back of the Rachel Mike, where's Mike? Mike, when are you getting out? Mike.
You mean the stuff we criticized her for all last season?
Because she's finally focused on herself. She's getting shit done. She's helping out people who need her help.
She's using all her years of law. I feel like she's been in law school since day one. So it's like, but I'm loving seeing her in class and interacting with the professor. Like, we never seen this.
Yes.
And like, it's like, is she really? I think we would joke about it like last season. Like, is she in law school? So it's nice. It's refreshing. I feel like, especially with the preview that we saw for next week, Mike's screwed. Okay?
Yeah.
So.
We actually had a decent exchange.
We'll be touching on her new case too, and I'm excited. What you got?
We had a decent exchange in the chat between Lindsay Ivory Neptune and Theodoros Malchois. Harvey needs a Mike distraction too, and then Harvey's Mike distraction is him being focused on trying to get Mike out.
Yeah,
because that's how Harvey gets distracted. It's just like I keep doing it.
Right, and I just get it done. So it's that.
I mean.
Have we already talked about this big old scheme to get him out in general?
Not really. We didn't touch on it.
Particularly.
How
do we feel about this scheme? So we enjoyed the scheme.
Once I realized it was a scheme, dope. But in the moment, I was like, "This is ridiculous."
In the moment, I thought it was Gallo.
Yeah.
Oh no, I immediately was like, oh. I thought it was just to get to the infirmary. I'm like, once. He just needs to be out of shot from where people can see.
He needs to be in the infirmary so Cahill can talk to him in the infirmary. But I guess Cahill has to walk through the yard to get to the infirmary. Maybe I don't know. I don't know the geography of this place.
I don't know where buildings are located.
Right, I could definitely tell it was some kind of thing. It was just the scene where Harvey's in the prison and he's screaming, and I'm like, no, this is.
But it's also to keep up the
facade and all this
of
kind of
everything.
thing. Yeah.
But the reason I didn't think it was Gallo is because they had just had that conversation where Mike said, "I'll file a motion for you tomorrow."
Why poison me?
Why poison the guy who's trying to get you out?
Because he could die.
Wait until Mike does something to shade you on this, and then poison his ass. You know, but wait until something has happened.
It was beautiful though. How did Harvey know that Gallo was going to come over and talk to him during lunch?
I don't think he did.
No.
I don't think that. I think that was a happy coincidence. I don't think he. It was more important that Mike went to the infirmary.
Right.
And then there could have been an interaction.
Right.
That was just a great actually, to be fair, Mike had told Harvey briefly. It's like, I told him how to get parole. I'm trying to get him parole. So I think he knew there'd be a level of interaction.
Yeah.
But I think that the Gallo actually touching the food was a happy accident. Like, that was an unnecessary part of the plan.
Yeah.
Also, so not the coroner, the doctor in the infirmary, the infirmer. That's not their name. The infirmer.
I made up a lot of names like about all these people. I can just call them whatever I want.
They're just
I called Julius the guidance counselor, not a guidance counselor.
No, he's a counselor.
I need help selecting a college.
Yeah.
But the warden and then Cahill were the only three people who knew. And then Mike got out of prison for 6 hours.
All right.
That's what Cahill has a lot of power.
Because that's what we were all talking about initially, where it's like
Right.
it happened so quickly, and then I think on the screen it felt a little jarring and a little like Crazy Town unreal. Mm-hmm. But
It's
then
just like you have to do so much.
but I think we all really thought about it, and it was like, well, Cahill's a federal prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We built him up for about 3 seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Harvey Specter is Harvey Specter.
Yeah.
So for Cahill to get somebody poisoned in prison once in his career isn't completely unreasonable.
True.
And then for Harvey to be able to talk to a warden and then have the warden walk him through the prison,
It's not the craziest thing. It just
it felt crazy at the time.
Yeah.
Because we didn't. Some of us didn't expect.
I just didn't expect. I'm like,
Some of
wait, so
us
y'all
not.
are floating around in suits like that? Like, it just felt another level.
I just I don't imagine in jail lawyers just being able to walk around and
No,
shout at
that's
other
absolutely
inmates. You know?
not.
But I think they're making it pretty, and I feel like next week they're going to do a good job explaining to us that that was a rare occurrence.
Yes.
And that lawyers don't do that, and that this is not, like, there'll probably be people in that prison who've been there for 10 years and be like, I've never seen a man in a suit at all. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen a non-inmate walk through, like...
Yeah, but Cahill did say, when he was talking to Donna, part of the reason he's so pissed is that he pulled every string
Right.
he had
Yes.
to get this done.
So
he called in a lot of favors and got this
I'm
done.
not nervous
by...
about Cahill, like, to jump off that. Because you said something earlier tonight where you were like, I felt like you were questioning him or something
Cahill?
like that. Yeah, or maybe I read something in the chat, or
No,
I don't know. I got a vibe
mentioned,
where-
with Cahill,
where was
there's
you?
always going to be more.
Yeah.
Like, with Cahill, it's always you give a
I
mouse
like
a
the
cookie.
Cahills in this season. I really do.
But I trust him.
Yeah. No, I don't.
No,
I trust him about as much as you can trust him.
Right.
And he's
I mean,
similar,
he just
and he's
mean.
the similar character to those Wall Street guys, where it's like you can pretty much trust him for about as much as you can trust that guy.
But
Yeah.
because of the situation they're in right now, and we've taken out the people that like won't help them out, and then, you know, in like the first couple episodes, we all haven't been a panel together yet to discuss like how much help they've needed and how they've had to kind of like bend, especially the big shots,
Robert
especially
Zane, Jack
Harvey.
Soloff,
Yeah,
all these
to
people.
get so I feel like the people that we're seeing now that have like resurfaced from past seasons are the ones that will be helping out.
Yeah.
You know, with Mike this season,
I do agree. I think that Cahill is...
who's there right now will be. Is like
Yeah.
kind of what I mean.
Right.
He's
You don't agree?
very... He's been very helpful so far.
He
And
that's why
he didn't have to do everything that he has
Absolutely
done
not.
to this point. The thing that scares me about the deal is just that he was not clear and he didn't want to put in writing about exactly what information Mike needed to get. Because if Mike comes back and is like, okay, I got you this, and then it doesn't lead to a conviction, then he can take everything away and Mike can still be stuck
and Mike
in
will
jail.
die in prison.
Yes.
Because
that is the part
that's what
that-
happens. That's what happens to someone who will
Who
inform.
snitches. Snitches get stitches.
No,
or
snitches-
a grave.
Snitches just die. It doesn't rhyme, but like snitches in prison, snitches just die.
But if you're getting picked on at school, I should tell your teacher. Is that just me? Okay. Just because the snitches thing is
if you're-
hard.
No, if you're getting picked on in school, stand up for yourself.
Yes.
And then
Kick 'em in the balls.
And then if you can't stand up for yourself, then threaten. then threaten to inform, and then if that doesn't work, then actually inform. The more you know.
Right.
The more you know. The
better you are.
Here at AFTERBUZZ TV.
Wow. Love it.
Sorry, our engineer Steve. Put a really funny thing up.
Shakar Shah asks us, what's in it for Cahill in this deal that even Harvey mentioned? Also, what's in it for Cahill? in this
It's
deal?
a high profile
Yeah,
case.
Cahill gets to
profile
put
that-
away.
yeah.
Cahill gets to put away a bad dude.
Yeah. And he was like, I've been pressured to move on to another investigation. I'm like, it's just like that? It's that easy? They're like, oh, never mind. Forget that one. Let's do this one.
I think they're just taking him off of this
Yeah.
case because he can't
He
close
can't get
it.
it
He's a
done.
huge
They
federal
would
prosecutor.
reassign it to someone else. Like,
Oh,
you're not doing
shoot.
your job, so we're gonna...
Or backburner it until, because
mean, you
it sounds like he came up and said, I can do this. and they go, oh, well, you're Cahill, you can do this.
Yeah.
And then
You can't
And then, like,
force
24
somebody to
hours
tell
later.
on somebody else. So you truly can't.
You can.
But
by
it's
threatening them and their families. That's how a lot of people
lot of
end up
people do it.
snitching, is because they're doing it to protect their families.
so-
and stuff.
it just sucks.
I feel like everything we're going to say past this point is bordering on prediction.
Okay.
So I think we're going to jump in to predictions.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
I just hate that.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Rick Kaufman, you guys would make amazing parents.
My baby gonna fight back.
No,
Sure.
don't tell him your kid. Tell him that really quick. Did you guys see the movie with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, the dad?
I've not
Is
seen
it
that yet.
stepdads or
it's
something like
step-
that?
or
I will see that on a plane in
You
2017.
have to watch it because basically, long story short, the kid's getting bullied, but he doesn't mention who's bullying him. He just keeps saying, "I'm getting bullied. I'm getting bullied." So finally, they're like, "Kick him in the balls.
Yeah.
Step up for yourself." Turns out to be a girl, and he kicks a girl bullying the little boy. Yeah, it's funny.
That's amazing.
It just reminded me of that.
Okay, so my bully speech is what Rick Hoffman's talking about specifically. Like what you guys, so I'd be the father and then 3 mothers. Perfectly cool. All about
We'll
it.
raise some awesome kids. Oh my gosh.
4 predictions.
Yeah.
Pretty?
What do we think Kevin's stepfather is up to, starting with Stacy?
Ooh, that is what I was trying to figure out. I really wanted an inch of that. Let's say he stole money from some big important people, because that's like not the
what
worst
everything
thing
is
in the
in the
world.
show, though?
Yes,
Okay.
but it makes me feel like less stressed of it being like something like he killed someone. So
All
that's
right.
what I think it is.
And I'm gonna say that he killed people.
Damn.
I'm gonna say he's a mob boss,
That was mine.
and he has been doing some shady stuff, and maybe Kevin was just like the front man. He was like delivering the groceries,
Right.
taking care of it. Like,
Well,
he's
it's his
completely
father-in-law.
innocent in all of it, but somehow he got taken down, and they wanted him to
Tell
flip
on the people.
On the mob
family.
boss thing, what I would love is if Kevin was not a part of the mob,
Yeah.
married the mob boss's daughter unknowingly, and then at some point wound up at the wrong family reunion and was like, nope, this is my wife, this is my love.
Yeah.
That's her father.
This is what people do. These all aren't far off at all. Being that I actually did AfterBuzz TV Mob Wives. These are all these are all.
Wait, you were in the mob?
Being that I'm in the mob. No, but I might have
waiting
some
for which-
family ties, you know. 'Cause
Moving away.
But no, I'm saying not far off at all. I think that's true. I think he's taking the bullet for his wife's dad, maybe, or also just kind of got bad place, wrong time. You know what I mean? But wait, where is the father-in-law?
We don't
don't
know
know.
anything.
We don't
We
know.
know he's in
anything about
Danbury,
him.
which is an upstate New York prison.
Okay. Oh, the father-in-law's in prison too.
No, we know that Kevin's in prison and
Kevin.
the father-in-law isn't, because he wouldn't because he wouldn't flip for the father-in-law.
And Kevin knew where PS 92 was. So
So it's all New
yeah.
York.
It's all New York.
Yeah.
It's the little details, guys. You gotta
little
pay
bit.
attention to
It'll
the
go
little
a long
stuff.
way.
A throwaway,
that
toss away
down.
line like that
Some would-
actually is a lot of information.
Some would say that's the Stranger Things.
Oh.
Get on Netflix tonight, but not for the kids because it's past their bedtime.
And then get
Okay,
on the
anyway.
Netflix, YouTube. Do we think Mike's getting out by the end of the summer?
I do think that
Oh
the
my God,
first
good
half of the season will
question.
end with Mike either walking out of the prison or the deal going super south and him actually like
Getting longer sentence.
a longer sentence.
Ooh.
No,
I think he'll walk out.
I don't
he's-
think he'll get a longer sentence. It
Yeah.
just wouldn't make sense. It'd kind of drag on.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more of Gallo. I think he could be the villain.
Side note, it's so
this-
funny. I follow Patrick Adams on Instagram, and did you see that funny? He posted a picture with the guy who plays Kevin and the guy who plays Gallo, and he was like Thug Life, and I literally, I kind of died. I should have screenshot and sent it to you
Wow.
guys because it was so freaking funny. Like,
Yeah.
I just love that. Thank God they're not as intense, but I do think at the end of the summer, you said, I think he's out. I think like Nicole said,
I think
there's
in,
only so much.
in 2017, we're going to come back here and he's going to be out.
Yeah.
That said, when he's out, he can't be a lawyer. He can't be a practicing lawyer.
Can't he work for Rachel, though? This is what we were talking about on the last show.
He'd be a consultant of some type. Like, there's a way around it.
Could he be a paralegal?
Yes.
Wait.
Can't he study
can he
law
not
in
bar
jail?
Remember we talked, you suggested that last season you suggested if he got out, he would be a government informant or something. Or
That's what I
did you
thought.
say? Yeah.
Well, he would be. the government would bring him on, like the government or CIA or something
Right.
high level would bring him on to help. That didn't happen. That would happen while he was a ward to the state.
True. Okay.
So unless this all goes terribly wrong,
Yeah.
and then the government swoops in and does that, which at this point feels like a cop-out, because I kind of like how they're making him deal with it himself.
right.
But yeah, they could still go that route. I honestly think he's just going to get out, and then
And then
we'll just have to
and then
see.
he's got to deal with that. I think you can be a paralegal without the bar.
Yeah.
And then he could be a paralegal. Yes.
I have another prediction.
Go for it.
I think that whatever happens, things are going to go south, and Mike's going to have to go into witness protection for a little bit. And
I
that
would love
breaks
that. I would
him
love
away
that.
from
Yes.
Rachel even more
Or
while they're
Rachel
waiting
has,
for...
or Rachel has to
or
go
Rachel
with him.
has to go with
but
him.
she just has to be a travel agent
Yes.
in Idaho.
I think
that's
that a
smart.
little witness protection could really shake things up as well. And then that's when, after he's done, then the government's like, hey, you know what? You're actually a great asset.
Right.
We could use someone like you.
100%.
Different show.
I was going to say, they
Then the
got.
show would be called.
I just found out that Suits got picked up for season 7
Yes, it
this
did.
morning.
Yes, it
So
did.
congratulations to you guys. We're super excited. We're going to be here supporting you
Rick
all
Hoffman
next
is in
season
the
as
chat.
well.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
You have a job
Rick.
still.
Thanks.
Any other predictions at large before we get out of here?
I think.
No, I'm pumped for next week.
Next
that
episode, yeah.
promo was good. I'm excited to see how it plays out just with him and the roommate. I'm
know.
for the roommate. You know, I want him in my. I like this vibe between them. And I like that we have a triangle going on here.
I'm a little nervous because there was a "What did you do?" Line where Mike is kind of talking to Kevin. So I'm like, "Crap! It's
No, I
something
know.
went
Something's
poorly."
going to go down.
But I think I say this a lot, that the people who make the commercials don't make the show.
Yeah.
So that line
Set
could
it
be
up
completely out of
purposely.
context or
Exactly.
3 weeks
That
from
happens
now. or
every
like-
week to us,
It always,
actually. Yeah,
it
you're
always
right.
does.
Just final thought. What if we're Rachel right now and we've only heard Kevin's side of this story? So we're thinking he's an innocent person and that we're feeling bad for him. But what if
Right.
his father-in-law actually had nothing to do with anything and Kevin is actually the bad guy? Just something to think about.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We don't know what's happened. We don't know any other side of the story. Cahill and his team could be wrong on who was actually running things.
That means
and it could have been
nobody
Kevin
knows.
the whole time.
Also, I have one more prediction.
That would be interesting.
Tara, the architect, is going to hook up with Stu. And
Oh no!
boil up Lewis.
I'm done.
That would make Lewis so
Wrap up.
angry.
No.
Souza said prediction. Someone hooks up with Sue.
Yes.
Stu. Sorry, Stu. I don't know. That was a tongue twister.
And then when they were together,
That would
they
be
have
awful.
brand bars on the nightstand.
I think
Juice.
But don't you guys think Lewis deserves love?
yes, that's why I'm like, no.
But I
just
think,
do
no,
it.
that's a lesson a character needs to learn, which is if you like someone, you need to ask them to go mudding.
Right.
I feel like he's learned that before, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that they peed in the cups, by the way. We forgot
That's,
to acknowledge that one.
Oh
So
my gosh, that
gross.
was so gross. Agreed.
I think peed in the cups is a good place to end
Yeah.
this show.
Yes.
If anyone
the
wants to
cups.
talk to us about that or anything else we've said today,
Yeah.
Stacy Ike, where can the people find
You
you?
guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace. As always, thanks so much for watching.
And you guys can find me at the Tiona Hobson.
And you can follow me at Nicole Brajer.
And you guys can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufmann. That's Kaufmann. This suit courtesy of snapsuits.com.
Yes,
Thank you so much for joining us,
Snapsuits.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.